Hey folks, Owen here again with finally another battle report, and this is going to be. I might as well start it off now. This is going to be a Warhammer Age of Sigmar battle report. Um, After what's happened to the Warhammer world and to our club in general, which is completely fallen apart, when nobody wants to play any Age of Sigmar, and everyone has moved on to different games, and I'm pretty sure everyone else in every other club has probably been like that as well. They've moved on to Armada, X-Wing. A couple of us are looking to play Guild Ball. A couple of us, well, I think it's only three or four of us really who are looking to play Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and then there's a few other games out there. I won't bother with any of the other ones, War Machine and Malifaux, because they're not really in our club. But yeah, it's mainly Armada and X-Wing, which is great for me because I do love X-Wing. It's a great game. But I also love Warhammer as well, and I don't just want to give up on it, especially when all the new models look so good. And I think that Stormcast Eternals do look pretty good, although I do quite like the Marine type thing. And yeah, let's face it, these guys are half Marine as it is. I mean, look at the fucking bottom half of these guys. I'm just looking at one here, and he's pretty much like bottom half Marine, top half robot, fantasy guy. I mean, what the fuck? But anyway, it's good. I like it. I like the stuff. The Lantern guy is cool. I mean, the models do look pretty good. So much so I actually went out and bought the Fire Spirit Warhouse when it came out as well. So maybe I shouldn't have bothered getting that. But I just don't have the time to paint all this stuff. But I'm rambling on here. So I'm looking to champion this game in the club. I'm going to try my best to get everyone to play, but to do that I need to play games myself, which is one thing I haven't been doing. I have played one game without using any of this comp, and by the way, we're looking to use Clash comp, which is out there. It's really good. There's a War Scroll builder. There's lots of stuff linked to it as well. They've got Dropbox files for the Clash Comp 1.2 and the scroll builders, and it's very good, and there's a lot of people who are adding to it, and I think scenarios are probably the best way to play this game, because otherwise you just go forward, mill up in the center, and then just roll loads of dice for about 5 hours, which, you know, isn't too bad if you're into that, but you do kind of want to do something else rather than just run into the middle and kill each other. You know, it is kind of a nice idea. So that's my plan. I'm going to try and champion this game, hopefully have a tournament in December, and by then I will see if I can get through this game. I just hope everyone else tries it as well. I mean, I don't want to just leave the whole Warhammer universe. I don't really want to play Kings of War either. I mean, I've read the book, the rules, everyone says the rules are great. Yeah, well, the rules are just move forward and then play combat, and then someone else does something else. It's quite fucking boring, really. I mean, there's nothing to it. It's nothing to it. I mean, if you really want to play rank and file, maybe you should just go back and play fucking 8th edition. I mean, you can still play the game. Just because it's not supported doesn't mean you can't play it. People still play Necromunda, people still play Mordheim, people still play Blood Bowl, for fuck's sake. Just go and play the game. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm a mad fan of that. I'd probably try and give it a go. I mean, there's no point saying no to a game unless you really don't want to get into it. And I'm not too bad about that. I mean, I have a lot of models and stuff, so I don't mind. But AOS is what I'm going to try and get my head around. That, X-Wing and Guild Ball, my 3 main games. And I'm going to try and do battle reports for all 3. Now, whether Guild Ball will really work with that kind of battle report, I don't think so. I think you need to have kind of, I don't know, the topsy-turvy turns are kind of the best way to go. And X-Wing, I don't know how that'll work either. Maybe I'll try a live report for that and see if that works. But anyway, I'm going to go into AOS, and this is the first report from AOS, and it's well, it was a tough one because we didn't know rules, and we have war scrolls on phones and shit, and it just doesn't really work if both players don't know the rules and have to look at war scrolls, and you really have to print them out, have them in front of you, and know what's going on. And it really does cut down on the playing time if you have to keep referring back and how many dice and what's the fucking rend and what's this. It's just a pain in the arse. So next battle report will be faster and more detailed, and hopefully we'll have better pictures as well, because I kind of got lost at the start but got into it at the end. But yeah, so without further ado, here we go. First battle report. So we rolled up a scenario and we got ourselves game 5, which is capture the center. So in this one you put an objective in the middle of the board, and then after you've chosen sides, both players roll off to put an objective. So when you win, you can place an objective not anywhere within the main objective in the center, and it has to be 12 inches away from the board, and then the other person puts one down as well. So obviously we put one down on each other's side so we can get a nice cheap objective, but it's a nice thing to put into it. So yeah, I've got Ogres against Dark Elves. So it's myself with a new Ogre army, which I managed to get my hands on. There was one being sold by Team Ireland's Woody. So I met him, got his Ogre army. I said, "Are you sure you want to sell this?" He goes, "Yeah, yeah. No problem." He's going into X-Wing, which actually I'm playing a lot myself. It's a great game, a lot of fun. So I got a hold of his army, and hopefully I do it justice, because it's actually quite cool. It's a nice army, and we have the MoComp here, which is 20 points. I tried to start this off at 30 points, but we just didn't have enough stuff. 20 points is actually quite a lot when you look at it. But yeah, there you go. So we're on to the Ogre setup, and on the right hand side we have ourselves two Mortifying Cavalry, Club or Blade, and Iron Fist. Apparently that's the choice. This was the first time I'd ever seen Ogres or what they have, and I'm playing pretty much as in the bag. So two Mortifying on the right, I have four Mortifying in the centre. They have a banner and a blower guy, and I think there was supposed to be a banner on the right hand side, but I forgot to put him in, so it doesn't really matter. It's only a friendly game. Then I have my Tyrant, who's my boss. He has a massive Ogre club. Then I have a Fire Belly there on the left hand side. So we have the Bruiser there, who is kind of very close to his pals, and he looks very similar to his pals as well, except he's got a big huge flag thing, so he's a standard bearer. We have 9 Iron Guts, who I hear are pretty cool, and who were pretty cool, spoiler alert. And then we have an Iron Blaster there on the left hand side, and I've got 2 reserves as well. There's 2 Gorgers. I've never used these guys before, but they look pretty fun, and I said I'd throw them in. It turns out they're quite shit, but never mind, they're always fun to use. So, Dark Elf setup, and you can see a nice TIE fighter right there. That's one of our objectives. Nice way to get X-Wing in there. Always play X-Wing, everyone. Wonderful game. So Dave put out his stuff, and he has fucking loads of stuff. He's got 20 Dread Spears, and then 20 more Dread Spears. And if you just see up there in the top left hand corner, it's a dirty model, and she is, what the hell is she again? Hold on, I think she's in the next slide. Yeah, there she is, Helibron. She's a pretty spicy woman. Yeah, she's a pretty spicy woman. She does a nice little fancy hero thing, which I'll tell you about later on. Then there's 20 Executioners, who are pretty lethal. They're weak but lethal. If these guys go first, they'll absolutely destroy you. They roll a 6. It's either to hit or to wound, and instead of a normal wound, it turns into 2 mortal wounds, which it's just insane. 2 mortal wounds. I mean, mortal wounds are pretty heavy going in this game. I mean, not a lot can save that. But yeah, so they're pretty good. So we got 20 Dread Spears then on the left hand side of those. Marathi is right behind him. Now it turns out his boss is actually Helibron, because Marathi, she's only a little wizard lady. She doesn't have any boss material, funnily enough. I would have thought she would have. And he's got 2 Reaper bolt throwers there at the top, which are absolutely lethal. They fire fucking 12 shots each or something. They're nasty things. Then on the left hand side, more guys. He's got 10 Dark Shards and 20 more Dread Spears over there. So yes, so that's our deployment, and it's a nice bit of terrain. We actually should have more terrain, but Dave was very lazy and didn't put them out for me. So fuck you, Dave. You better do it the next time. And then we won the roll off, and Dave decided to go first, which I was quite happy to let him do. He did want to get a couple of shots off and try and kill some of my stuff, and I didn't mind because I was hoping to get a double turn. So we're both happy. Good stuff out of us. So yeah, I've used the bigger ones for moving forward because of all the weird phases. And you know what? The first couple of turns, it's quite difficult to get the pictures in for this, because I mean, there's 5 turns now. There's like the hero phase, the movement phase, the shooting phase, the fucking charging phase, and the combat phase, and then the battle shock phase. That's 6 phases actually. Lots of weird phases. So so we move forward here. He moves forward with his 2 guys. I missed the kind of hero phase for Dave, but he didn't really have anything with Helibron anyway. All she has is her special ability is she lets a unit attack twice in that particular turn. It's either that turn or for until the next hero phase, something like that. I think it's the next hero phase. We really have to read the rules a little bit more, and that was another problem. We didn't have enough rules, or we didn't have enough knowledge of the rules. Plus, Dave didn't have his own rules, so I had to use my phone to look up my rules and his rules, and it just doesn't work. If you don't know the rules and you're trying to look up 2 sets of rules for guys, it's a disaster. You have to have them printed out and in front of you, and pretty much know half this sort of stuff, because otherwise, I mean, it makes the game ridiculously long, and it was almost twice as long as it should have been, because of, well, David was going for smokes as well, so we'll pretend we didn't hear about that. But he was also looking at stuff, and we just didn't really know what was going on. So this was our first game, but we will have a quicker game the next time. So more movement. Everyone just moves down. The ones on the left hand side, as far as I remember, ran, and then Marathi hides behind the building because she's a bitch. And I didn't take many photographs here either. I was so used to Fantasy Battle that I only took a couple of photographs, whereas you have to take quite a lot in this game, and I only learned that till later on. So yeah, that Reaper bolt throwers opened fire and blew away a Mornfang and took two off another one over there on the left hand side, so that was a bit of a disaster. Plus, I think these guys have 6 wounds. I think it's 6 wounds. Did I print out their little war scroll? They're hefty guys. Their save isn't great. Well, their save's actually alright. But yeah, hefty going for those Reaper bolt throwers. Yeah, so Ogre turn 1, and what we have here is my Iron Blaster going to take an objective. Go Iron Blaster. So, according to the old MoComp, Clash Comp 1.2, it says that once you're within, I think it's 3 inches of an objective, you hold the objective. So, good stuff. So that's quite important. You have to be within 3 and nobody else can be. I'm pretty sure that this guy can hold it, because he's a multi-wound character or a multi-wound model. Maybe I should read that up. Actually, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just units. But I thought this guy could, and we assumed he would. So fucking who cares? So yeah, he's gone up there to hold that. My ogres went forward as well. I didn't want to run them because, well, because I didn't think we'd all get into the scenery. We wouldn't get our +1 save. So I just wanted to move them up enough. And he didn't want to charge me as well with his couple of guys, so I didn't want to go too fast, too quick. The Bruiser then fires up behind the guys as well, because there's no point in him hanging out by himself. Then here in the center we have the Fire Belly, who goes nowhere, because if he goes out of that building he's dead. And then the rest of the Morfang pop up as they do there, and my general moves up a little bit as well. I forgot an arrow for him, but who cares. So Ogre turn 1 shooting, and this is where I let rip with the Iron Blaster. Iron Blaster is not great. Iron Blaster is, well, no, it's okay. What it does do is that it shoots a big, huge cannonball. Obviously, the funny thing is it only wounds or hits on a 4+. But if you fire into a unit more than 10 models, you get to re-roll that. So that's actually quite cool. It means you're better off not sniping and hitting big units instead. So that's what I did. So I failed my 4+ the first time, rolled it again, and I hit. Then I got the 2+, and it was D6 wounds, and I got rid of 6 guys. As far as I know, this count them out: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Yeah, 6 guys. 6 guys gone. And that was a big result, because these guys are the biggest threat to me in the entire board. So good news. So Ogre's turn 2. So yeah, we rolled off, and I got myself a double turn. Now, what I forgot to say, or what I forgot to take pictures of in the last one, was that my Gorgers came on as ambushers in the first turn, and they popped in on the 2 corners. The guy in the right hand corner can't really get to this bolt thrower on the right hand side, but this guy had no problem getting in there. So he charged in, and he killed it. And unfortunately, I don't think I have any more photographs, because I was pretty poor at taking them, because we were checking up so many rules. But I have this one here, so that's alright. So yeah, the other Gorger comes in. My 2 Mornfang on the right then charged these guys as well. They both got in, they both minced them out of it completely. And they wrecked these guys, which is fantastic. Even though that Spearmen are actually quite good. In combat, they get to reroll their 1s and 2s for their saves. Their save, I think it was only, what, 5+, but still, I mean, you're rerolling 1s and 2s, you're going to save quite a lot. But I did get to manage to get a lot of wounds through, so it worked out pretty well for me. That's pretty much it. As you can see from mine down the bottom, I just moved my ogres up into the center to control that objective and to go onto the scenery, so I can get +1 to my armor, which means I've got a 3+ armor for those guys now, and that's really good. So yeah, Dark Elf turn 2. So Marathi flies off over that direction. She wants to protect the other bolt thrower. Meanwhile, the guys on the left hand side run, and the guys in the middle just walk up because they are going to do a charge, and that's it. And the right hand side, we got a lot of walking up as well because they're all going to charge me, and it's not going to be pretty for the guys in the middle. Um, yeah. And I was just going to say about that, but I said I'd go on to the next frame. He got pummeled by a load of bolts, but managed to save a good few as well. So he only took 2 wounds, but it does show how dangerous it is to stand out in the open by a little hero. Um, Unlike most heroes, I mean, looking at Stormcast, the Lantern guy, he's only got 5 wounds. A lot of them only have 5, maybe 6 if you're lucky. So I think a Tyrant has 7 or 8, which is quite a lot compared to most. And then I took some more wounds off the bowman, or whatever they're called, dark shards. I mean, there's only 10 of them, but they got 2 wounds through, and it just shows that shooting is quite powerful in this game. So I got the charges in here. He has charged Marathi into the Gorger just to get rid of that guy. The Spearmen then go into the Iron Guts. Now they can't get that far because in this clash comp you go towards the nearest guy, and I think that's what it is in the rules as well, but people just kind of stuff them in and roll them around and whatever. So we kind of tried to be as forceful as we could with the actual movements to try and keep it proper and, well, rule-ish, if you know what I mean, instead of going, you're okay, pile them in. Dave decided to put the Spearman into my Ogres as well instead of going into the Iron Blaster, because I think he said he was just going to charge somebody. It doesn't matter who you charge as long as you get enough a distance to get into them. I think they were the only ones he can get into, so he's got 2 or 3 attacks on my Ogres with them as well. And over then the right hand side, then we have the Executioners going into the front and the Spearmen as well. I think, what's her name, charged up as well. I think she charged up as well, but she couldn't get in because she was blocked. But it doesn't really matter. I probably would have focused most of my attacks on her to kill her, really, if I did. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. And yeah, skull and crossbones means my guys got absolutely destroyed. I did manage to get. I had one guy left on 2 wounds, and he killed quite a good few of his men. But battle shock meant I was just gone. He just completely and utterly destroyed me, and that was all the mortal wounds from those guys on the left hand side. They are absolutely an absolute nightmare. Plus, Hellebron had given him a double attack with those guys, so they just made mincemeat out of me. I mean, a double attack from Executioners, fucking hell, it was psychotic. As you can see up the top there, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 sixes, which means 8 mortal wounds. No save, you're gone. On the right hand side, things went a bit better. Of course, I did lose a wound. Or is that 2 wounds? I think I lost 2 wounds actually. Yeah, but they got rid of 4 more guys, so good going there, and we should be able to get rid of them fairly quickly and hold that objective. On this side, then, the Ogres went to absolute town. We got quite a lot of hits through with these guys. I got to attack with, I think I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, something like that. They've got some serious attacks, serious damage output. They wiped the whole unit out in one go. I couldn't believe when I seen that. Then on the right hand side, these guys lose. I think they lost 4 to battle shock. A very unlucky roll from Dave. And yeah, he lost 4, so he's only got 1 guy left in that unit. And Dave gets himself a double turn. So, I mean, it's a fair enough game if both of us get double turns, so who can complain? So the Dark Elves then, on the left hand side, they move up, getting ready to charge the Iron Blaster, and those other guys are in combat, and I think Dave might have been better off retreating with those guys, because I wasn't going to follow him, because I really want to keep that objective. So I think maybe he would have been better leaving them to run back, but they stayed where they were. Oh, by the way, that guy at the bottom, the banner bearer, what I found out when I read the rules is that if he stays there and plants it in the ground, he has this special rule where I get to re-roll. I get to no, when I roll a 6 for something, I do an extra wound, I think it is, or something like that. It's pretty good. So he just planted it in the ground, and everyone around gets extra wounds on the units, which is fantastic. Then the left hand side here, the last of the executioners gets ready to go into my tyrant, as do everybody else, because if he gets into that tyrant and kills him, he gets a secondary scenario, which is assassinate. So he gets, if he kills my general, then he's assassinate him. So good stuff if he does. So we continue to Dark Elf turn 3. You see, I'm getting better with the photographs here. Lots of photographs, lots of arrows. Nice to see. Hopefully my next battle report will be better than this one. But anyway, let's keep it going. So the Dark Shards go straight forward as far as quick as they can to get into the Iron Blaster. We tried to get as many as we could in here, but the terrain was kind of weird. So we did try to fudge it a little bit. So Dave would have gotten more than he has in here. So I think I'd give him an extra 3 or 4 attacks. And it's only kind of right because if you make terrain like this, it's hard for it to really be effective in a proper game, if you know what I mean. You can't just make terrain to make it easier for one person, so you kind of have to help the other person out a little bit as well. It's just common courtesy in the game, really, isn't it? So yeah, a couple of extra attacks and it's only fair. Then over here in the middle of the board, we have the Tyrant getting milled out of it by these boys. Executioner goes straight in, as do the rest, well, as do a good few of the Spearmen. I'm more worried about the Executioner. He's the one who does the damage, so he's the one who's going to be attacking twice. Oh no, actually Dave's he got the Spearmen here to attack twice because there's more of them. So yeah, this is Spearmen who are attacking me twice here, not him. And all is said and done, these guys caused me 4 more wounds, so I've got 1 wound left, and he's got 8 wounds. The main thing though is that I killed the last of the Executioners, and they were his most expensive unit, which gets me, as far as I can see, gets me the blunt scenario for the secondary scenario. Now what it is per the sudden death table from that weird small rule book, but we were playing it as in it's the largest, most expensive units. So he was looking at my Morn Fang unit, and I was looking, was it Morn Fang or Iron Guts? I think it might be the Iron Guts. Yeah, well, he wasn't going to get that. But anyway, I think his unit, the Executioners, was the most expensive because they are quite lethal. They're still quite cheap for what you get, but they are quite lethal. So I should have gotten, I think we got an extra point for that. Then up in the top of the board, the Gorger, who had kept Marathi going for a turn or a bit, decided to die because he's shit. Let's just say Gorgers is not very good in this game. Hitting on a 4+ with most of your stuff is not much use really, and they don't have much fucking rend either. But he did manage to get a wound offer, so I suppose you can say that. And he did get rid of a bolt thrower, which is pretty nice because those bolt throwers are rotten. Then the right hand side, this Gorger was far more successful. These guys are in combat and we got rid of them all. Good stuff, which means that we have the objective secured. So yeah, things are looking good over here. Meanwhile, back at the ranch here, we have a scrap between Iron Guts versus small tiny elves. And the small tiny elves all died to a man. He's got one final guy left in there. He died to battle shock, so that was the entire unit gone. These Iron Guts are pretty nasty, especially when you get yourself +1 save thanks to the weird rock thing I'm on. And then it goes on to Ogres turn 3, and this is the final one that I have because we had to end this at turn 3 because it was fucking nearly 12 o'clock and it was time to go home. And it had gone on far too long. We were reading books and stuff, and it was just a bit of a disaster. So my first proper game of AOS turned out to be a bit of a mess, but it was quite enjoyable. So what I did here, and what was a big mistake, we went flying in after these other guys, and we killed quite a few of them, but I didn't kill them all. What we did do though is that we left the objective, which meant nobody got it. So that wasn't a good idea. The most important thing in this game is to keep an eye on what you're supposed to be fucking doing, which is not just killing stuff, but it's also getting your objective. And I didn't realize that, and I could have lost the game if Dave had another turn and moved in and stopped me. But look, it doesn't matter. I don't think these guys were going to lose because they're a tough bunch. Then if you see up on the top there, I tried to assassinate his little general bird, but didn't manage to kill her. She's got like 5 wounds and I put 4 through. She's quite tough, but she's not, well, she's toughish. She's not that great. Her little hero thing where she gets units to kill twice is quite cool, but as a general herself, she's not that great. The end of the game. So we ended there after turn 3. We said, look, if we were going to play another turn, and we're supposed to play to 5 turns, it would take us at least another hour, and listen, that's not going to happen when it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Finishing off games that time is not good. So anyway, we counted up a few points that we had, and I think it ended up being something like 15 something or 16 something to me. Look, it was the first game of Age of Sigmar that I played properly. It was with a new army, it was with new rules, and it was with well, not a new opponent because I play Dave all the time, but it was with a new kind of approach to the game where it's a scenario and you don't just go around killing stuff. Well, you do kill stuff, but you want to get other points as well, which is quite cool. And you know what? I am going to try and stick with it. I will not use my Stormcasts until I have them painted, as I said. I am trying to get them done as quick as I can. But AOS is not going to be the only game I'm going to make reports on in the future, and I have decided that I am going to try and do as many as I can. Not just AOS, but also Guild Ball and X-Wing. Now, I'm not sure how Guild Ball is going to work for a battle report, to be honest. I've only ever seen live ones. So if I can try and do a live one, I will. And then X-Wing, I don't know if that works for kind of click and move and shit, but I'll give it a go and see how it works. You know, it's a pretty cool game. I really like X-Wing. I think it's great fun. And it's a quick game as well. Yeah, but there we go. AOS, first game in the bag, and here's hoping that this gets better, because this report hasn't been great. So, and it's been a while, I guess. It's been a while doing these reports, so I really have to get back into the swing of things. What I'll do this week is I'm going to play a game on Thursday, hopefully put this all together over the weekend and get it out on Monday or Tuesday, so I can keep them kind of rolling and keep looking at the rules, keep myself nice and fresh, but also get ready to do a few other games as well. I'm hoping to see if we can maybe do a tournament then in Christmas time, if I can get enough people interested. I'm sure I can get like whatever 8 to 10 guys playing Age of Sigmar, which would be pretty cool if we can do a bit of a kind of couple of battle reports out of that and have a bit of fun. But I really want to try and make this work, because I mean, Warhammer was a great community, and if we can try and get some of that community back, it would be fantastic. So I'm going to leave it there. Hope if you managed to get through the whole video, thank you very much for staying, and hopefully it was worth your while, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks, folks.